guys, welcome to our last week in March 2023. This entire month of March has been a very transitional month. Endings and beginnings happening sort of simultaneously. The theme all month, the theme really all year, this astrological lunar year of 2023 that we are now officially in. Today we have more of this energy going on this week, this last week of the month of March 2023, which has been representing these fundamental changes and transitions. More of that being indicated today, endings and beginnings. We have Venus and Uranus coming into a conjunction this week. This is one of the primary energies this week. Venus and Uranus beginning a new cycle together. We're going to be talking all about this. This is that new beginnings energy. And simultaneously, we have Mars, Saturn in the South Node forming a grand trine in water signs. This is facilitating some type of an emotional release from karmic patterns of the past or some past attachments that have been blocking our growth, blocking our potential, and keeping us from going through this transition. This is very significant in alignment with our authentic growth right now that universe is pulling us all towards as we are going through this very transitional time, leading us, bridging us into the age of Aquarius. So we've got lots of energy to talk about today, you guys. Let's get into this chart. Let's look at this energy as it's coming together today, as it's coloring our experience this week, and look at a little bit more detail in terms of how it may be impacting us on the ground as we go through this energy. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Wednesday, March 29th, 2023. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day. If you stick with me till the end of this video, we are also going to be looking at a collective tarot reading that I have done for all of us today as well, because I like to tap the energy field for more than one modality whenever I'm doing these reports, just to get a more well-rounded overview of whatever's going on, check from a couple different energetic avenues. So we're going to do that as well. We're going to do it at the end, but we're starting with the astrology major themes. Two primary energetic themes coming through this week, like I said, both again emphasizing these themes of endings, very much so, and also beginnings, very much so. Number one, like I said, we are starting a new Venus-Uranus cycle. These two planets are coming into an alignment in the sky in Venus's sign. So this is pretty significant in terms of the Venusian energy as it's being expressed. Not only that, we currently have Pluto, death and rebirth, right? Destruction, and then the Phoenix rebirth energy at 0 degrees of the sign of Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus. My personal feeling about this dynamic right now is that whenever Uranus is being heavily activated, I think the Pluto in Aquarius energy could be causing some breakdowns to go on, but it's for the purpose of this very regenerative, purifying energy, okay? So that being said, we could definitely, Uranus is the planet ruling shocks and surprises. It's also this great awakening energy. It brings like flashes of insight and sudden epiphanies, but it's also like, can be this just urge for like radical liberation, okay, in various types of ways. There could be some very unexpected shifts and changes happening this week along the Taurus-related themes or the Venus-related themes, shakeups, sudden changes, unexpected shifts in finances, projects, partnerships, things to do with money, value, material possessions, resources, and relationships. We will get into more of this as we get through this report, but that is one of the major primary activations coming through. It's actually going to be exact tomorrow. We're 1 degree out of this energy today, but it is quite strong. So expect the unexpected this week, especially in terms of things to do with money and relationship, partnership dynamics. The second, and that this is representing these new beginnings. We're starting this new cycle, and in terms of what that is likely to be bringing, again, I'll talk about more about this in a minute, but the second primary theme that we have going on this week to me is representing these facilitated endings of perhaps some long-standing emotional attachments, okay? This is because we have Saturn at 3 degrees of Pisces, Mars at 3 degrees of Cancer, and the South Node currently at 5 degrees of Scorpio. Mars and Saturn are in exact trine on Tuesday, so that would be yesterday and today of this week. So this is Mars-Saturn energy in the trine. We're going to be talking about that. Saturn rules things that have been going on and like persisting or sustaining or enduring for long periods of time. Saturn also rules karma. We're talking about the third point in this trine being the south node. The south node is the other point that represents karma. It also represents what we're releasing, what we're moving on from, what we're letting go of, what we're moving away from. So it's how we're detaching from things. So with Saturn and the south node both representing karma and the past in a trine together, this is a facilitated release, okay, from the things, something from the past, from the structures in Pisces, from the beliefs. And this is happening in water signs, okay? This is a grand water trine. So this has to do with our emotions and our feelings. Mars is what we are actively engaged in. Something about the energy this week is bringing in a focused effort, almost a concentrated effort in terms of releasing ourselves from some type of past emotional attachments or past belief systems that have been blocking our growth in alignment with our authentic potential and our authentic value moving forward. This North Node in Taurus energy, opposite the south node, so Saturn and Mars are both, of course, then going to be sextiling the north node in Taurus, Mars in Cancer, Saturn in Pisces. So the north node is what we're being sort of released into. We're being released from these emotional attachments or the emotional structures or forms, almost conditioning, okay, of the past that has kept us, again, from pursuing the truth of our value or recognizing our authentic value and our authentic potential. This is the whole push right now. And it's so interesting that this Venus-Uranus conjunction is happening simultaneous to this in the sign of Taurus, because that is where the North Node energy is. So it's like this awakening to this authentic value, to this truth of our potential. And simultaneously, Venus and Uranus, this is another energy that is about freeing ourselves from that which is not a reflection of the truth of our value. So on one hand, in this energy, it's representing these endings, because we're talking about finally releasing these karmic attachments to these emotions or to these perceptions or to this emotional conditioning that was keeping us from recognizing the truth of our value, the truth of our potential, and therefore the truth of our power. But on the flip side of that, we're starting this new cycle of recognizing and awakening to the truth of our value and a desire simultaneously to free ourselves from anything that is blocking that growth, okay? Uranus and Venus coming together in the sign of Taurus. So we've really got a very beautiful recipe going on this week, you guys, for, again, right? Endings and beginnings. That's where we're at. That's how we started this month. That's how we had the big foundational energy, the equinox and the new moon in Aries this month. And that is also how we are closing out and ending this month with some very strong energy that is both pulling us forward and cutting the cords that have been holding us back. So all the push right now, very future focused, so that we can really start to actively create going forward based on this new perception of our own potential, and through that process and that shift in perspective, unlocking that potential and helping us to actually step into a new experience of reality that maybe we had not thought possible for ourselves in the past. We are recreating our own reality this year as we are bridging into the age of Aquarius. So it's going to be a very interesting year. And I've been saying this, and this was very indicated by the new moon in Aries energy that we had on the 21st in alignment with the equinox this year as well. So in terms specifically of this trine that we have playing out in water signs between Saturn, Mars, and the South Node, like I said, this is very active today. On Wednesday, we do have Saturn and Mars in this exact trine together. And the South Node is not exact, but it's only 2-degree orb off. So this is very much activating this, this trine. We also have the moon transiting the sign of Cancer. This activation, this energy will be present throughout the duration of this week. It was, however, the strongest actually yesterday on Tuesday. Sorry, I didn't have a video for Tuesday yesterday, but here I am today talking about it. Today it is also very much withstanding. So as I'm going through this report, you might hear some of the things I'm saying and be like, wow, that really applied to the energy of yesterday. But, and then as the moon leaves Cancer, this energy will, in this trine sort of separates a little bit. It will begin to wane as we head towards the weekend. But Tuesday and Wednesday is when this energy is the most powerful. Specifically talking about the trine, right? The exact trine between Mars and Saturn in these water signs. This is going to give concentrated effort and an enhanced ability to control and direct our energy, especially our emotional energy. This is actually like, people should have more patience with things this week and just be more sort of able to control and contain and restrain sort of like the emotional expression of things. It's a very emotional energy when we have Mars in the sign of Cancer and this grand water trine being activated. There's also a very, of course, karmic flavor to it, as I've been saying, with the South Node and Saturn, both ruling karma, both involved in this. And we may find ourselves over this next couple days, or yesterday as well, very focused on some type of past emotion that we really are like working through, or focused on like finding a remedy for, or like really like trying to let go and to release ourselves maybe from some of these emotional attachments or these emotional patterns that we know are out of alignment with our higher spiritual truths. Saturn in the sign of Pisces, there is a need and an obligation in this energy to, do what we intuitively know is best for us, and to have like it's like we have a responsibility to our higher selves in this energy. And if we're not doing that, we can experience a greater karmic backlash that kind of can have more of an instantaneous effect. In the trine to Mars as well, this is like putting our energy into what we need to like nurture ourselves and care for ourselves on a soul level. Then we're talking about the South Node in Scorpio as a result of being able to release ourselves from perhaps some of these toxic or negative attachments, psychological or emotional attachments from the past that have been stealing our power in any type of a way. So, this is this facilitated effort to really restructure our emotional body in such a way that is detaching us from anywhere we've been surrendering power and aligning us with this process of growth going forward. We may find ourselves focused, like consciously actually, on some aspect of that process as we are going through this week. This is channeling energy into nourishing the soul through transcendence of karmic cycles, through this adherence to spiritual principles or higher truth. And this is what the higher octaves of this energy are assisting us with and calling for us to kind of do in the midst of this energy. It is an emotionally tough and enduring energy though. In these water signs, Saturn and Mars in a trine together, this is like an abominable endurance. Like this is like having the ability to persevere through like great difficulty and to like not be broken and to like truly make it through. And we're talking about in the water signs, this is like an emotional endurance, or just like an ability, like I said, to sort of persevere through and overcome some very difficult things from the past with the Saturn South Node energy, or things that have held us back, or things that have, been very traumatic. Like this is the ability to really like get through it, overcome it, and release ourselves from whatever we had been holding on to in that regard in this energy. It gives us the capacity to cope with things just without giving up and without giving in to a greater extent than we may normally experience. Like there is very little emotional vulnerability in this energy. And even the position of the South Node right now at 5 degrees of Scorpio, that Sabian symbol is a massive rocky shore, resists the pounding of the sea. This is very much reminiscent to me of this grand water trine with Mars and Saturn. It's just this ability to withstand these, turbulent emotions that may really try to drag us down or pull us under, or, make us cave in. But we just have a much greater ability to withstand on an emotional level in this energy, which is helping us to overcome and to conquer perhaps, some of the things that had been keeping us from being able to let go of whatever we're needing to let go of right now, so that we can start these new cycles that are simultaneously being represented right now. This is a good week also to get some serious work done with Mars and Saturn together. Mars is our energy levels. Mars is how we're behaving, how we're acting, what we're putting our energy into. Saturn is this very focused, concentrating like ability that helps us to really form and structure things. When we have Mars and Saturn are trine together, I always think of this as master builder energy, able to create these like phenomenal feats of labor, okay, that just like endure and the tests of time and are just like, it's like the Sphinx, you know what I mean? Like that's like Mars Saturn type of energy to me. And when we've got the emotional like flavor to it going on in these water signs, it's a good week to get some, you know, some serious work done. But you may receive actually some solutions coming through on a more emotional level. It's like we know kind of more intuitively in this energy how precisely to best accomplish tasks, to best achieve objectives, and emotions have the tendency as well to be less in control of us and us more in control of them in this energy. Like it is an ability to sort of not be, even though we do have Mars in the sign of Cancer, which can make emotions like the driving force of action, with the trine to Mars, this is a very refined and focused way of using the emotional energy for a productive purpose. So it is a very good week to channel our passions and really creatively like produce something that could really benefit us in some way with them. Okay, so we've got that going on in terms of the Mars Saturn energy. All week we have this energy of facilitated release from these long-standing karmic cycles, more of this divine timing ending energy as well, divinely timed ending energy, because these are the nodes of the moon that we're talking about, you know, destiny and karma. This is all in divine alignment and divine timing when the nodes of the moon are being activated. But simultaneously, we are starting these new cycles in awakening to the truth of value and potential. New beginnings, unexpected shifts and realignments in specifically, okay, these Taurus themes: work, partnerships, financial dynamics, but also things to do with resources, potential, creativity, art, music, beauty, food, abundance, growth, resources, supplies, material comforts, possessions, financial markets, currency, digital currency as well, and cryptocurrency. We'll talk about that in a minute. Economies, values, agriculture, things coming from the ground, things to do with, you know, levels of abundance, security as well. We could just see some very sudden, unexpected things happening this week. This is a very financially oriented energy as well. Again, with Uranus or with Pluto now in the sign of Aquarius, this could also be indicating some breakdowns coming through that are necessary at this point in time for some realignments in alignment with this authentic growth, this authentic potential, this authentic value to come like back online. Now it's going to be very interesting. Venus and Uranus in the sign of Taurus, this is energy that makes me think of like digital currency or like cryptocurrency and stuff like that. I really think that when we get Jupiter coming into the sign of Taurus, coming into the conjunction with Uranus and Taurus, I think this is really when we're going to see sort of like the explosion and the rise and the expansion and really some high prices going on in terms of the crypto market and stuff like that. But with Venus, you know, ruling money and economies and assets and financial stuff and value and all of that, coming into the conjunction with Uranus, which is ruling, you know, like the internet and like the future and like innovation and stuff like that. This is just a very like a crypto oriented energy sort of to me, and there may be some type of emphasis going on like digital currencies or cryptocurrencies or something like that that is holding a greater prominence in the energy as we're going through this week as well. So expect the unexpected this week in terms of all of that type of stuff: work, projects, partnerships, financial stuff, specifically value-based stuff as well. Uranus trying to realign things with authentic potential and value, writing things, and maybe triggering these breakdowns first and foremost with Pluto ruling destruction but also rebirth now in the sign of Aquarius, which is of course ruled by Uranus. Also awakenings though, these sudden bursts of creative insights and inspiration coming through, which are so supported in the energy of the grand trine going on with Mars and Saturn. We have like a very beautiful formula going on this week for both gaining these creative insights and these creative inspiration that sort of just like hit us like a lightning bolt out of nowhere, and simultaneously the ability to like really focus our effort and our energy into making them, bringing them into fruition somehow. So this is a very supportive week for taking our ideas or our passions or what we desire and translating it into like an actual experience, like creating this. A very creative stabilizing energy, okay? And it is also Uranus and Venus coming together. This is always going to create sort of like a desire to free ourselves from anything that we feel like is just like worn out or not fitting us anymore, like not matching up with the changes that are going on within us now, or a reflection of our past selves instead of our future selves. This is definitely also Venus and Uranus coming together. This is also like changes in preferences and changes in our desires and shifts in what we really want, and sometimes awakening to the truth of what we actually want, or changing our values in some type of like significant or radical way can be represented by this as well. But it usually boils down to some type of a desire to free ourselves from something that we feel like is not exciting anymore, or is just like in the sign of Taurus as well, like preventing our growth simultaneously with this trine going on that is helping us to release ourselves from anything that is attaching us to the old version of ourselves that is stifling our growth going forward at this point in time now. So, you know, in combination could be a very, very highly creative week, productive week, changing tastes, like I said, changing preferences, master builder energy, Mars and Saturn in trine, Venus and Uranus in trine. This is a new cycle in creative potential as well, awakening to the truth of our value and the truth of our potential, and wanting to sort of free ourselves to align with that and start like developing it and working through it as well. Both of these aspects about liberation, trine to the south node, and the conjunction to Uranus, liberation from the past, moving towards the future. Uranus, the planet ruling the future. Venus is our heart, what we desire. There is a heart-based alignment with where we're going next. Mars, our energy. Saturn, the past, and the structures, and the south node, also the past and karma, and these water signs, these the emotional conditioning of the past that had us attached to anything that was blocking our growth going forward. We're no longer putting energy into that. We're putting our energy into an active release from those things so that we can go through this new cycle of growth in alignment with awakening to the truth of our potential. Both happening simultaneously. Endings and beginnings, cascading endings and beginnings. I feel like this whole 2023 year is really going to be very much about those themes. And here we have it represented again this week. Now, as I said, today specifically, we also have a Cancer moon going on. We had a Cancer moon yesterday as well. This water trine, this grand water trine, the Mars Saturn trine, was actually strongest yesterday on Tuesday because the moon was also in Cancer. The moon rules Cancer and wasn't in a conjunction to Mars, also the trine to Saturn in the south node. So the moon was really accentuating this energy yesterday. You may have really felt it yesterday, but it is still present today, and we do still have the moon in the sign of Cancer today. The moon is actually moving to form a square with Jupiter and Chiron and Aries today, and normally that could be some very big emotions, some very big emotional expressions. The square between the moon and Cancer, you know, our emotions, and Jupiter expansion in the sign of Aries. But because of Saturn's presence in the trine, this is definitely like restraining and limiting and controlling the expressions of emotions that are coming through. People are likely to be very strategic in their expressions of like whatever their feelings or emotions are in this energy. This is not energy where people are just sort of like letting it all come out. This is a much more controlled expression of the emotional energy. We're also, as I said, you know, one day out from the exact Venus-Uranus trine today. That's going to be exact tomorrow. So this energy is very strong as we're building into it. Expect the unexpected, especially again in terms of plans and relations with others maybe not going according to plan, and also financial situations could be sort of a bit up in the air, or just sort of experience some unexpected shifts in this energy. Could feel a strong focused effort to free ourselves, right, from what is no longer appealing to us, these changing preferences, like just kind of like waking up one day and not liking anymore what we've liked for this whole period of time, be like, I'm just not really into it anymore, and just kind of changing in that more subtle way. It could also represent more radical changes in terms of our value systems, or what we are, you know, desiring, or what we even find beautiful, or what we find comforting, or what we find appealing. This is just changing. It's likely to change the Taurus stuff, like our values, our preferences, and what we kind of want at this point in time. It's sobering up energy too. Mars and Saturn together, this is giving us a more serious approach to our passions, or to what we're working on, or to what we're putting our energy into, to how we're acting and behaving. Again, more self-disciplined, more self-controlled, just more sort of like sober attitude about things, generally taking things more serious. But Venus and Uranus together, exciting, spontaneous meetings, connections, relations with others coming in as well. When we have Venus and Uranus coming together, usually the encounters or the meetings, the random relations with others, whatever that we have going on in that energy, they're usually not very long lived. They're usually very short, but they like are meaningful and stimulating and exciting, and they like awaken us to something or show us something or just like make us feel alive in some type of a way. However, with this trine playing out as well, there may be a dynamic of like divinely aligned relationships and partnerships coming in right now that are actually going to have some type of long-term like productive impact, that in some way creates something that carries or endures far into the future, that is moving us away from the past somehow. So there could be you know, a kind of faded and very like significant or serious element to spontaneous encounters, meetings, conversations, relations that are happening today and this week in this energy. Lastly, it could be very memorable as well. We do have today on Wednesday, Mercury at 21 degrees of Aries in the sky. 21 degrees of Aries, that is the point in the sky where the planet Eris was discovered. It's called the Eris point. The Sabian symbol of that degree is a boxer entering the ring. Mercury is the messenger planet. This is ideas, thoughts, communication. Eris is the planet, you know, ruling discord. There could be a level of discord present in the energy today. There could be people kind of trying to stir up drama, stir up trouble, induce conflict kind of in your experience, more so than usual perhaps. People may generally just be a bit more argumentative today, but we should avoid getting caught up in the drama. We should not play into this. We should not get in petty, you know, fights and disputes and arguments, because this energy is so good for starting our new projects and like focusing on ourselves, like really focusing on our issues, like cleaning out our closet, taking out the trash, like giving ourselves a makeover. That is how we want to use this energy, not engaging in like needless drama, needless gossip, like needless, it's stealing our energy and it's distracting us from our purpose, and that is not what the energy is supporting this week. Starting new projects, working towards our goals, and intuitively like knowing how to achieve our objectives and like really putting our energy towards that. That's how we want to use this energy this week. That is what is going to benefit us this week. We do want to be open and to go with the flow of things, because with Uranus so active, you know, expect the unexpected and be prepared to, you know, make adjustments. In this fixed sign Taurus energy, it may be a little bit difficult, but we do have the water trine going on, and you know, this is speaking to a need to sort of go with the flow of things. Also, we need to stay future focused. Like I said, we are heading in this new direction. We are not being consumed by the energy of the past. We have the sun today, 9 degrees of Aries. That Sabian symbol is a crystal gazer. So we are staying focused on the future. We are aligning with our mind's eye and the vision of what we want to create. We are concentrating on what we need to do to get there, and we are releasing the past, moving away from the past in that process. So that is what I have to say for the energy today for Wednesday the 29th. You know, like I said, Tuesday the 28th, yesterday, this energy may have been very prominent as well, with the moon in Cancer having formed the exact trine in water signs with Mars, South Node, and Saturn in Pisces, Scorpio, and Cancer. But, you know, Uranus and Venus as well. So we are staying open. We are going with the flow of things. We are avoiding the drama, and we are focusing on our own personal healing, our own personal, like, ability to release ourselves and to overcome and to focus our effort on what we want to create going forward. Now let's talk about the tarot for a minute. We had a few tarot cards come out today. Honestly, like, this message is pretty much right on par with the overall dynamic, I feel like, of the energy coming through this week. And, you know, of the Saturn South Node dynamic. See, this Saturn South Node trine is actually just beginning. Even though we have Mars and Saturn and the South Node in this trine right now, the Mars is going to move forward, but we're still going to have the South Node Saturn trine that's going to be lingering for a few weeks because Saturn takes a long time to move degrees, and Saturn is still 2 degrees out from the exact trine with the South Node. So, over this next this next couple weeks, this next month almost, there is just this karmic release that is hitting us, that is helping us to detach from, it's almost like the the places we've been stuck in the past, or like the obligations or the commitments or the responsibilities, or just what we had been like vehemently attaching ourselves to that was not that was stealing our power. Okay, like that's what it boils down to. We are having to go through a mindset switch over this next couple weeks that is helping us to release ourselves even more so from these karmic attachments, so that we can awaken, right, to the truth of our actual purpose, our soul purpose, which is what this transition into the age of Aquarius is really honestly collectively comprised of, and what universe is urging us towards at this point in time by way of all these changes that are happening now. So, the tarot message today is really reflecting that. The first card that we have coming out of the deck is the Hanged Man. So this is, of course, saying there is a need for a shift in perspective, or we are undergoing a shift in perspective underway, or a need for a shift in perspective coming through. The next card that we have is the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, followed by the Six of Cups in reverse. This to me is talking about being in a place of lessened power, like not being on our throne, like not feeling like we're the queen in our castle or the king in our castle, like not coming from a place of personal self-empowerment because of some faulty emotional attachment to the past, or some toxic emotional attachment to the past. Six of Cups in reverse that had been stealing our power. Okay, something about past attachments, emotional attachments, keeping us out of our place of power, and that being what we need to have a perspective shift about. Then we had 2 cards coming out after that. We have the Four of Pentacles in reverse, followed by the Seven of Wands in reverse. This combination, to me, these cards coming out together, falling right on top of each other, to me, this is about surrendering the burden. And I talk about surrendering the burden often, especially now that we have Saturn in the sign of Pisces. Pisces is a sign of surrender. Saturn is a planet ruling control. There is a major karmic lesson over this next transit throughout the next 2 years that Saturn is transiting through Pisces that has to do with learning to surrender, our control, or the things that we can't control, to a higher power in order to release ourselves from some of these karmic loops that we've been stuck in. There is a dimension of needing to be able to put surrender our burdens with the faith that things are working for us and not against us in this energy, this week, and as we go throughout the course of 2023 and this next couple years, like I said, with Saturn in the sign of Pisces. This is something that we're learning, and I feel like that is also what this energy is indicating. We may, like, part of that mental shift or that perspective shift that we may be being called into right now could have to do with surrendering, what we've been struggling against, or what we've been struggling to hold on to or to maintain, with the faith that things are truly working in our favor at this point in time, even if, that may not be matched by the appearances going on around us. On the back of the deck, we have the Star in reverse, followed by the Tower. To me, this is kind of saying, there may be some upsets or some sudden things that have happened that have left us in a place where we're feeling sort of maybe like hopeless, or like a bit fearful, or maybe like feeling like our faith has been shaken in one way or another. But again, the guidance coming through in this message is to surrender that which we can't control to the higher power, with the faith that things are working for us. And this is part of a mindset shift and a perspective shift that we need to go through at this point in time, in order to, it's leading to some type of an illumination or some type of an enlightenment that is helping us to actually come back into a much greater place of self-empowerment, which is what this 2023 year is leading towards as well. We now have Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. This energy over this next 20 years is all about, humanity's journey to regain the truth of their power. This is the individual recognizing, this is the self-empowered individual, and that is where we're coming back. back to. But anyways, I feel like this message is really very much so just describing what we have going on in terms of the astrology as well, a need to reframe or to gain some type of an awakening or some type of mental shift that is helping us to release ourselves from the emotional attachments of the past that have been stealing our power. And it may be scary, and it might sort of like hit us out of the blue, or be very sudden and sort of like shake our faith in one way or another. But the guidance here is to surrender the burden with the faith that everything is working for us to actually restore our own sense of personal power, so that we can, you know, ultimately gain this greater sense of fulfillment, happiness, and everything working out lovely in the end. So that's what I have to say for the tarot today, you guys. Let's get a synchronicity card now. This is going to just be a piece of guidance or advice, God, Spirit, Universe. What do we need to know? What would benefit us to, you know, sort of use as a mantra as we are going through our day today in the midst of this yet again endings and beginnings energy? Okay, and it says don't overdo. Do not worry about what you shall eat. Luke 12:27. If you have a problem with appetite, be it for food or anything else, be not concerned. Thank God for removing the desire to overdo in the consumption of food or any other appetite. Which to me, this is like, again, reminding me of this Mars-Saturn trine, this restrained or limited or controlled, like, or like level of self-control or self-discipline, or an ability to, not allow our emotions or our desires or our passions to be in control of us. This is us having a much greater ability to practice that self-discipline and to maintain a sense of control over our urges or over our desires, or over our temptations and stuff like that. So I feel like this is very reflected actually in this card, and you know, that is maybe something that we need to keep in mind in this energy, is to practice that self-discipline and not allow ourselves to sort of like, you know, go way over the top in some things. Even if we are feeling a need to sort of radically free ourselves from something in one way or another, maybe we need a more strategic or just a more well-planned or thorough use of our energy in the way that we are like acting or engaging in whatever behavior we feel like we need to do at this point in time. So that's the advice, you guys. Don't overdo it. Message from the stars, message from the cards. If you guys liked it, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, you guys. Leave me comments. I love your comments. I love all of you so much. Thank you guys so much for being here. Let me know if you've been having experiences that line up with this energy. What's been going on with you? I have a Facebook page, a Facebook group, some Instagram stuff, other social media stuff in my description box below. If you're interested, if you're into any of that, come back with me tomorrow, you guys. We're gonna have our exact Venus-Uranus activation tomorrow. We'll be talking about that. And then the day after that, we are going to have our April overview. I cannot believe that the month of March, we've made it through. And yeah, I would say it's been quite eventful. And now we have the month of April coming up, and we are heading into eclipse season, you guys. So we're going to have that to talk about. So like I said, I'll be back here tomorrow to talk about Venus and Uranus. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. I will see you then, guys. Have a beautiful day. Until tomorrow. Bye.